Hey guys, gwaan. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Amila. So I do nursing videos, vlogs, challenges, and videos like these. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you've been here from day one, gwaan people. Now, as you can tell by the title, you know what I'm going to be talking about. For those of you who are new here, I'm a newly licensed registered nurse. Not so new. I'm approaching my 6-month date. And so I'll be sharing some of the things that I've learned throughout the 6 months and some of the things that I think is very vital to know as a new grad nurse. By the way, people, my hat, I have to have the fan off. So yeah. Okay, so I have a paper in front of me that I'll be looking down on. So if you're interested in this video, continue watching. Oh, before I go, I want to say a big congrats to those who have passed their span exam. And if you never passed your first try, pull up your socks, go ahead and try again. It doesn't make or break you, trust me. And you get it. If you have to use the 3 tries, use it because I use them. Alright, and all the best for R&R preparation. Of course, I'm going to do a video for you guys, showing you guys how I prepared and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Now, the first thing that I want to look at on this paper is the management aspect. You know, as a registered nurse, you're in charge of a unit, you're in charge of a ward. Jumping right into it, you won't be on your own, but maybe a month or a couple weeks you'll be on your own, and you have to manage your ward and do the management aspects. When I started, I worked a lot with some EANs, and a lot of them show me what to do and stuff like that. And you know, over time I had to take on those managerial roles, so I'm going to go into that. Now, the first thing I'm going to look at is the 24-hour report, and it looks like this where I'm from. It's not so visible, but anyways, I'll insert a picture maybe. But the 24-hour report basically covers the 3 shifts: the morning shift, the afternoon shift, and the night shift. And this is where you basically choose some patients and you write about them, like a summary. Also, on the 24-hour report, it has a tally which shows the amount of person that was admitted on the morning shift, amount of person discharged, amount of deaths, amount of delivery if that is a part of your ward, and some other little stuff. So there are 3 sections: morning, afternoon, and night. And the morning at the end, 24-hour report normally is supposed to be submitted like half hour before the shift is ended. So if you're working at 7 to 3, you know, 2:30 to or thereabout, you submit the 24-hour report. So you start tallying from then. So if you have 5 admission, you put the T and stuff like that. But that's the easy part. How do you choose your patient? Which patient goes on the 24-hour report? Now, based off memory, because I don't remember everything. Every time I'm recording, I don't remember everything. But you put new patients. So if you have admission, even if the admission is pretty stable, the patient is new, they go on the 24-hour report. If you have a staff that you're taking care of, they go on the 24-hour report. If you have a patient that has gone to surgery and probably not come back, they go on the 24-hour report. If you have a patient that's post-surgery from day 1, day 2, or day 3, they go on the 24-hour report. If you have a critical patient, they go on the 24-hour report. There's some more criteria, but I can't remember. It's not like you're receiving the patient on the 24-hour report. It's basically a summary. So what I do for my new patients, I write like new patient admitted at 12 from A&E department, came in with a history of whatever it is, seen by Dr. so-and-so in A&E and was treated, and upon admission. And then I write my assessment: patient seen in nil distress, whatever. I do my head to toe, but I don't write everything, all my head to toe on the 24-hour report. I just write like the most important stuff. So I write that the patient is breathing freely and really room air if they're on oxygen. I said the patient is maintained and deleted oxygen. Then I jump to the mucous membrane, and then I jump to the abdomen. Does the patient have been a UCAT? Does the patient voice spontaneously, stuff like that? Is the abdomen distended, stuff like that. If there's no abnormalities, I don't really write it on the 24-hour report and stuff like that. So that's what I do for my new patient. For patients that are critical, I normally go extra in terms of my description of those patients, because you know, at the end of the day, your signature is going to be at the bottom, so I'll try to put as much detail for the critical patients. For example, if you're on a ward, you don't have no staff taking care of, no new admission, everybody's kind of stable, you know, category 2s and 1s, and everybody kind of gwaan. What I do, and I think they said that they don't recommend it when we were in orientation, I said that we shouldn't, but honestly people, sometimes we have the word like it goes flat, where we only have social cases and we don't really have anybody to go on the 24-hour report. So what I do, I write like a little line that says all patients receive clinically stable, due care given, and they remain stable throughout the shift, and that's it. So that's for morning shift, right? So we start it, and this is generally done after sister comes for her report. So as a registered nurse, you're going through your day, you're doing your stuff, and you're taking care of your patient. Your sister is gonna come for her report, so you have to report to your sister basically what happens, anything on ward round, any updates, stuff like that, and then you write the 24-hour report. So that's morning. So say for example you're coming on the afternoon shift or the night shift, you will get the 24 report like a continuation from morning shift. So when you get the report, you're gonna see who morning shift put on the 24-hour report, and you basically continue in your section like an update. So for example, I had a case where I had a patient that went off to surgery and she was on the 24-hour report on the morning shift, and when I came in the afternoon shift, she did not return. So when the patient returned, you know, her post-op orders and everything would have to go in that afternoon section, and it goes on to night and so on. You get the gist. It's nothing too right. It takes a little practice, but take a picture of one and continue. Next thing I want to look at is census, and this is like a database thing, well, a paper database thing, where you kind of keep track of everything that happened for the 24 hours. It is tallied at midnight, so the night shift is the one that tallies it off. And what it basically does, on the census you have all the admissions, all the discharges, all the transfer ins, anybody transferred out, any deaths, stuff like that. And then at the bottom of the paper you have a tally section, and you basically tally it at midnight. So you sign it off, and that is that. That is it. Right, another thing that you must do as a registered nurse is to make your assignment. You're in charge to split up the work, delegate the task, and make sure everybody get them allotted break and stuff like that. So it's different in every institution, but there's generally a book, and it's 3 columns: the staff, their assignments, and their break. So you add up your book and you write up the 3 columns and so on. So what you do, you put them in order. So if you have an acting sister that's working on the unit, they go at the top. Then if you have an RNM, they go at the top. And if you have an RN, they go right there. And then if you have EN, they go right there. PC or PNA, doesn't matter, and so on. Whatever supporting staff you have, they go in that order. Then student nurses and stuff like that. Alright, so for example, you're the RN in charge, you know, you put your name, and on the assignment you can say like general supervision of the ward and staff. If you're the one that's going to take meds, you put 6 o'clock meds and stuff like that. And for another person, you basically give them an assigned task. What I do, I split up everything. So for everybody that I put there, so for example, if I have 3 persons on the roster, I put like the first person, I say admission 1, second person admission 2, third person admission 3. And when I just started, I did not know how to delegate tasks. I did everything myself, everything in terms of receiving patient, 2 o'clock meds, 6 o'clock meds, 10 o'clock meds, how long I did it for, I do baths, I do fees, I do everything myself, because I didn't want to just, I couldn't say, excuse me, PCA, can you go ahead and do this bath for me? Because I'm coming from an institution where the attitudes I'm used to getting them something, and honestly, I was just immature in certain things, and yeah, enough blabbering. Delegate your task, because I have my 6-month evaluation coming up soon, and delegation is a part of it as well, but I do think and I do believe that I've improved on that. So that is it for writing your assignment book and stuff like that. Now the next thing I want to look at is, how do you give report? Now sister calls on the phone, or sister is on the ward, or matron is on the ward, and they're here for the report, and you have to give report on everybody. How do we do this? How do we hand over a patient? You know, let's put that together, handing over the patient and giving report. Now breathe easy. You know the patients to an extent because you cannot know all of them, but you know at the back of your mind, you know, the sister is coming 10 o'clock, sister is coming 11 o'clock, so you try to have certain information that are vital written down. All right, always ensure that on your shift there's a vital sign that is done. Always ensure for those are the diabetics, you have a GMR that is done on your shift. For persons who are on input output, always ensure that you have a output, something to record on your shift. Anyways, now the sister comes and they might do it one or two ways. They might walk down with you bed to bed and you have to tell them about each patient, or they might sit and they go through the book. Now sisters normally come for the report after ward round, which means after the doctors come, see their patient and make their plans. Sometimes that don't happen because sometimes these things take a little time to happen. Sometimes some of them come late, so sometimes you don't really have much to report. But if that's the case, when sisters come tell them that the patients were not seen as yet, we still give them the report. All right, so let's dive into it. How do we hand over the patient or give report? So let's start. So the sister come and you're going down bed to bed. So on bed one, sister, we have patient A. He is an admission of yesterday. He is 23 years old and his diagnosis is acute renal failure. That's his diagnosis. He was admitted from, I don't know, he could have come from one different area or he could have come from A&E. So let's go with that. So it's an admission from the A&E department. He was seen in A&E by Dr. So-and-so. Labs were taken off. He was given this, he was given that, and the orders were, or the plan for this patient were to admit to this ward, 3-liter fluid, GMR profiling, vitals for orally, and you list the medication that the doctor put the patient on. Right now, upon admission, or for today's sister, when I received this patient, I don't really have any complaints so far. His urine output is fine. I give the output. This is his vitals this morning versus this is what it is now. If it's a diabetic patient, okay, his pre-meal GMR, his pre-meal RBG is this, and his post-meal RBG is that. He tolerated his meals, his hygiene needs are met, and the plan, doctor saw him today, and the plan is he's for discharge today with take-home medication and an appointment for next week. And that is that patient. Next patient now, for example, sister, this is the second patient. He's a admission from last month, known anemic patient. He came in with a HB of 6. He got 2 blood transfusion and his HB now is 15. Right? If you have anemic patients on the ward, always make a note of what the HB reading are. So not just receive the patient, nurses, go through the docket if you have the time and write down the vital information, or just look, because you might have an anemic patient, they're not symptomatic, that's how you know them, but there's a lab in the docket that says that, you know, this HB is 5 and nobody knew, there was nothing of essence to say that this patient HB low, probably the doctor don't see the patient as yet, and your report said the patient's fine. A HB of that magnitude is not fine, stuff like that, right? So if you have anemic patient, we generally like to keep a track. So this patient got a transfusion, blood transfusion. What is the latest of the patient's HB? Alright, and that's basically how we give report, and that's how I hand over to the other shift. So if I'm on the morning shift, when the shift comes, that's how I hand over. You will have cases where the nurse is coming on or you going on, you know the patients already because you probably worked there for a week, and you don't really go in depth in all of that in terms of admission of this, so on, so on, so we just go and we hand over, we say same patients, and doctor saw them today and this is the plan. So we basically hand over the plan. Something that I've seen that the ward that I am on, I'm on female surgical, by the way, guys, that they do is they started handing over the cardex, the medication. So for example, if a patient is on medication for a week, we hand over the cardex to say that this patient has been getting this medication for a week, so today would be the last that this medication is due. Or you hand over the cardex, you say, how come this patient never get this 2 o'clock meds? Is it due? What happened? Is it that they never give it or forgot to sign? Because when you go to give your medication on the afternoon shift and you see so the medication is assigned, you can give the patient the medication thinking that they never get it, but they got it, the nurse just forget to sign it, stuff like that. So I think handing over the cardex is pretty cool and it saves lives and saves time. All right, also as a registered nurse, if based on the unit that you're working on, you are most times going to be in charge of holding the DDA key. Now the dangerous jug is like a cupboard that keeps the dangerous drugs. Example like the pethidine, the morphine, lidocaine, so no, not lidocaine, fentanyl, stuff like that. So you'll find different dosage, different routes for like PO and IV medication, like 30 milligram, 15 milligram, 10 milligram, and it varies. So there's a cupboard with all of that, and RN is in charge of holding the key to it, one person, and the DDA, as well as handing over the ward, the DDA key has to be handed over as well. So how it's done, I don't know if this is a universal concept, because I never really got much introduction to this when I was a student, but how it's done where I'm working is that in the DDA cupboard there's a DDA book, and you use 2 books to get the key. Here's the DDA book as well as the log book, because both book, whatever tallies there must be matched up, right? So when I get the key, I take out the book and I head, and it's normally headed up already, so I put the date and the time, and there's a section that says amount seen and book balance. Now in the amount seen section, everything that I count, I normally take it out. So if I'm counting pethidine, there's a column for pethidine 50, and I took out the pethidine 50 and I count them off one by one, shake them to make sure it's not no crack, all of that. And honestly, sometimes you don't really have the time to do it and persons don't really count it, but you're signing for it, so don't sign away your life, don't sign away your license like that, people. You're gonna have to account for it. So we count each, and then we say if we get 30, we write 30, and we do that for each and every drug that is in the cupboard. And then we take the log book and we find the page that says pethidine 50. Now if we count amount seen section, we got 30, and in the log book we see 30, we write 30. That's fine, because the book is saying that 30 is left, and when you're counting it you got 30, so that's fine. Now in the event that it doesn't match, the nurse that you're taking it from must give a count. So technically, by right, when you're handing over the DDA key, the nurse that's giving it to you must be there for the tallying. You should be there, of course, and normally they ask for another person to give witness, but most times they just 2 people do it. Now if something is off, the person giving the key must take account and explain, or I don't know, that's a whole incident report right there. I don't know how that works. That has nothing to do with me. Right? Now, if you're not the one with the key, you're gonna go to the nurse that has the key and tell them that you need some pethidine, and you bring the treatment chart and all of that. I like to get my patients' vitals before administering the pethidine or any opioids, because we know that opioids are gonna decrease blood pressure or pulse or stuff like that. Cool? Cool. Another thing to have at the back of your head is that you're gonna need the antidote for this medication. A lot of time persons are allergic, they never gotten before, so you don't know if they're allergic to it, or probably be an overdose, or I don't know, something bad might happen and the patient's having an allergic reaction and you don't have an antidote for this medication. This is why checking the emergency trolley is like really important. Now, what is the antidote for these opioids? It's naloxone. So ensure that you have naloxone in your presence when you're giving these things. Alright, now back to the medication. So you present the treatment chart and you write it up. It's normally like a section, a row. You put the name, the date, the name of the patient, the name of the medication, the dose, the route, and who is giving you has to sign, and who is receiving, which is you, will have to sign. Now there's another book when you're actually giving the medication to the patient. There should be a nurse watching and witnessing. So you're going to sign it up again. Betadine 50, name of the patient, the dose, the route, administered by you, witnessed by you. And if you, for example, if you take out 100, so for example the order was 75 petadine, but you know they don't really stock them in 75. They normally is 50 and 100. So the nurse that's administering is going to give you the 100 vial, and you're going to have to take out 75 and waste 25. You need a witness for that as well. All right, so and that's basically it. Now, any tips in terms of serving these medications, as I said before, is check the vitals before. They normally serve with gravel. So a tip in terms of preparing DDA medication, of course you need a witness and all that, but pull up the gravel first, because gravel is a stock medication and we don't really want to pull up the petadine first, then joke in at the gravel container and kind of mix it. Next thing, one other patient gets some other, you know, anything. So pull up the gravel first, then you pull up the petadine or whatever medication and then serve it. Most times I give it on the glute or the thigh, right? And for my new grads, don't shy away from the gluteus point. I know that some of you guys did not, or I don't know, I didn't do it a lot in nursing school, so I was shy. Do it. If you're hesitant or if you're fearful and you're not sure, ask someone to do it for you at least once. Ask someone to watch you at least once. Do it, because sometimes you're going to be alone and that's the only alternative you're going to have, and you're a registered nurse and you just got to know how to do it. All right, so yeah. So that tip that I gave in terms of checking the blood pressure is not just for opioids. When I'm doing like any antihypertensive and any glycemic medication, I normally check the vitals first. So if I'm giving even nifedipine, people, if I even 20 nifedipine, I'm going to check the patient's blood pressure first before I give it. I've had an experience where I'm on the night shift, and you know we do vitals and medication in the morning, and I did the patient vitals at 5 and they were due for 5:30 and they were due for medication at 6, and the patient pressure low, and that patient's supposed to get nifedipine, atenolol, aldomet, because it's a chronic hypertensive person. I'm not giving all of that to that patient with that low blood pressure, because never pass on a dead patient. You get me? So you have to do your assessment. You have to identify your markers. You have to trust your instinct, and if you're unsure of anything, run go to the next one if you want and ask. I have had a patient coded on me, my first death, and yes, the patient was, you know, poor prognosis and he was looking out for it, but your first death, and I was, everything that I had in mind in terms of preparation for something like that went out. I literally didn't know what to do, and the only thing that my brain could have told me to do was go to the next one and call for help. That's what I did, and they came and helped, and the anger that I was just there like, not you have a force that for me. But yeah, stuff like that. As you go along on this new grand journey, there are a lot of things that you're gonna figure out, and there are days, and for the past, like the first 3 months, I did not feel like I was nursing. Then I was not nursing. I was just going, receiving patients, medicating them, and praying to God so them stay alive so I can pass it on to the next shift. I wasn't advocating. I wasn't checking labs. I wasn't actively involved in the rounds that are going on with the doctor and stuff like that. And I'm not 100% there now, but I'm improving. So for example, I left the medicine ward. I'm on surgical for now, and it has been a major improvement for me. The team that is on surgery it's good. So I kind of interact with them, and some of the things that I see them do, I kind of can predict it, know, and stuff like that, and that is what I like. My encouragement is, even if you start and you feel like you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you're gonna get it. Just don't go and act like you know everything. Observe, be quiet. Sometimes we need to shut them out and watch. Don't follow the crowd. Read, continue to read. And coming from me, this is so hypocritical because I have 2 NCLEX books here that I said I'm going to start reading and I haven't. But that's another story for another time. One last thing that I will be looking at is not really a skill, but something that I didn't know anything about giving blood. I've never done it in nursing school. If you have the experience, kudos to you, but I didn't. So there are certain things that you must look out for before giving the blood. You must have an order written up. The doctor must say that the patient is supposed to get 2 units of this or 1 unit of this. The order must be there. The next thing that's very important, the consent. The patient must consent to giving blood. So there must be, you know, check the docket, there must be a consent form there that was signed by the patient, right? Of course, you'll go to the patient, you're going to explain this, and you're going to explain that and stuff like that. And you get pre-vitals, always, right? Because if there's a reaction, you want to know. Alright? So, when you receive the blood, I don't normally give it same time. So, I normally put it in the fridge. Now, when I receive the blood, I normally make a note. Receive blood for patient so-and-so, ID number so-and-so. Bag number, that's the number on the blood, is so and so and so. Expiry date, so I'm gonna write everything. I'm gonna say blood placed in fridge. Now when I'm about to prepare to serve the medication, I take out the blood and I just put it somewhere that's warm so that it can go to room temp, because we don't give cold blood and we can't warm it up by putting it in the microwave. Right? So normally when I'm preparing for to give blood, we normally have a second nurse to witness, to say, you say to a nurse, hey, I'm gonna administer blood. I normally get an RN. To me, I don't get the difference, so it must be an RN or EN, but so them say. So I get an RN and I told them I'm gonna give blood. This is the bag number. This is so and so and so, and we match the details with what's in the docket. So some of the things that we match is we look at the recent blood result. What are we looking for on the blood result? We need to see like the indication why the patient needs the blood in the first place. Doctor can't just come and tell us if you do this, you do it, you know, and stick a pin. Like I've in my first week I was doing one run and this patient never have, like, I don't even remember what the diagnosis was, but this doctor said that he wanted to do a chest x-ray. Right now when sister came for the report and I said patient was for chest x-ray and was done. So sister asked me why I make care the patient go to chest x-ray. I said the doctor ordered it, and she said, yeah, I know, but why? What's the indication? And I couldn't answer. Up to this day, I don't know why that patient went to do the chest x-ray, but me care the patient go do it and then do it. So something like that never happened to me again. So there must be an indication why this patient needs blood. Is it that the patient is gonna do a procedure and then blood count low? Is it that the patient is post-surgery and they lost a lot of blood? Why is this patient getting blood? The HB is what? Stuff like that. We look out for it. We look at the blood type on the blood result as well to match it on the bag of blood that comes to the patient. Alright? Some of the other things that we match on the blood, of course, the name of the patient must be on it, and the bag number that's on the blood must match what is in the docket, because it normally comes with a little paper thingy that's in the docket for some, I don't know. You match that up. We look at the blood group on the bag must match what is in the blood for the patient. What may I say? The blood group that is on the blood bag must match the blood results of the patient. So if the blood results say this patient is O positive should be on the blood bag. Yes. We check the expiry date, when it was prepared, and the expiry date. Alright, we do that together and we write it and we start it. It's basically like putting up fluids, but it's in a special bag and have a special line. I don't know. I will attach it just the same. So what I do is I flush the patient's IV line first. I put up a bag of normal saline and let it run out for a while, and then I get my pre-vitals right before, and then I attach the blood. I watch it go. If it's going fine, then I watch it go. In the first 5 minutes, that's when I do my first vitals. If it is normal, then in another 15 minutes, and then 30 minutes. I don't know if that's the correct interval. I don't know. But when I'm giving blood, I'm paranoid as hell. So I literally think I go to the patient like every 5 minutes. I'm gonna try and find out though. I'm gonna try and find out. Like, I need like something scientific to say that this is how it's supposed to go. Because most people may ask is that they say, so I'm not gonna do it or stuff like that. So there's nothing concrete to say that, you know, but me never researched it before, so yeah. I'm just letting you guys know what I heard. First 5 minutes, 15 minutes, then 30 minutes. Alright? Now if they have a reaction, you're gonna stop it and attach back the saline, of course, and call the doctor and let them know what is out of whack and stuff like that. Recently, you know, I've seen cases where, you know, the patient is getting blood and then temperature elevates, and my supervisor was saying something that, you know, that's gonna happen. So sometimes you don't really stop the transfusion. I don't know, but as I said, I am high-key paranoid. So if me go pause it and I go report, because some of the doctors I have their contact, I try to get their contact, so I can either text or call and make them know. They must annoy me, but I really don't care. And if it's good to continue, then it's good to continue and document everything. And yeah, that's it in terms of giving blood. So I do think I've covered everything that I think you need to know. No, I have 3 more things. I have 3 more things. Guys, I don't want to put this in a part 2, part 1, part 2, because I hardly post, and I want to do I just want to get 1 video out and done, because I take forever to edit 1 video, much less 2. So let's go. If you reached this far into this video, big up yourself. I hope you're learning. I hope you're actually enjoying, and I hope that you can see yourself coming back to watch this video when you need some information. And of course, share this with a friend, share this with someone who you know is gonna start working as a new nurse pretty soon. So I'm on the surgery floor, as I said before, so there are some things that I really want to tell you. Pre-op preparation, post-op preparation. No, normally a lot of the preparation is done on night shift, right? So the doctor would come and see the patient in the afternoon, and they explain the procedure to the patient, and the patient give consent. An anesthesiologist might see the patient depending on the surgery, and they give consent as well, and stuff like that. So the orders leading up to surgery is normally written in the docket. So when you come on night shift, there are some things that you need to look out for. We normally have a pre-op checklist that's attached to the docket, and we basically fill it out. Some of the things that you must have done is that there's an order, like the doctor see the patient and say that the patient is for surgery. That's one. The anesthesiologist must see the patient, right? And the consent form must be signed, right? Depending on the surgery, you must see sign for the patient must give consent for blood as well. Alright, so patient must give consent for the surgery, give consent to get an anesthesia, yeah, and in some cases the patient must give consent for blood as well. Normally they'll say NPO at midnight or NPO at 12 or 10. You ensure that the patient is NPO. Depending on the procedure, you have to shave and prep the area. The patient can shave themselves, make them shave themselves, or you know, you help them out. And depending on the procedure you pass UCAT, like LHCS or anything like that. We normally pass UCAT. We do it in the early morning. If the patient to get any pre-op medication like antihypertensive, we normally give it to them in a small amount of water. Okay, we don't really want anything they don't want them to eat anything because they can aspirate in surgery. And yeah, that's pre-op. I will go through the checklist. If the patient is supposed to get blood, it is our responsibility at the institution that I am that the blood is sent to the operating theater as well. For post-op, When they go for the patient, or if the patient come, I don't know how we do it, but the operating theater is close to my surgery floor, so we go for the patient and they hand over the patient to us. They tell us the procedure that the patient has done, was it eventful or uneventful, the estimated blood loss, and the plan, the post-op plan. And they come to our ward now to basically recover from what they have done. So when I receive that patient, I do their vitals. Even if that nurse just do it, I do their vitals. I want to know what it is like on when the patient just come, because for post-op persons, we monitor their blood pressure, their vitals. Sometimes the doctor will write a particular order, but I do it like every hour for the first 3 hours and then every 2 hours and so on. Depending on the surgery as well, we want to monitor for any blood loss, like PV loss, stuff like that. And important, we monitor urine output depending on the surgery. Anything less than 30, you call the doctor. That's an indication of something that's not good, right? So stuff like that. But if you reach this point in the video, that's everything that I have to give you guys so far. I'm glad that you stuck it out to the end. I hope that I was able to help some of you guys. I really wanted to go in depth in terms of my routine, what I do at work, but I'm gonna save that for another video. My hands and I gotta go. But I'm glad that you stuck it through and you're here at the end. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.